Welcome to this course on Introduction to Management, Lesson 1, Session 1. My name is Dr. Liza Castro Christensen. I'm a Danish citizen who was born, raised, and educated with a double bachelor's degree in business administration and international studies in the Philippines. I have an executive MBA and a DBA from Henley Business School, the University of Reading in the United Kingdom. I have a portfolio career as a visiting academic fellow at Henley Business School, UK, and a visiting professor at the University of Jaén in Spain and at Swiss UMF University. I'm also a researcher, a consultant, and an entrepreneur. I worked for 2 years in Spain, 2 years in Norway, and 1 year in the USA before I settled in Denmark, where I worked as marketing manager in the education, hotel, and IT sectors for almost 15 years before joining academia. I have 20 years of teaching and supervising experience at the bachelor's, master's, doctoral, and executive levels in Denmark and the United Kingdom. I've also taught in France, China, and the United States. My research interests are within change leadership, female leadership, middle managers' trust in top leadership, diversity and inclusion, the alignment of HR strategy and business strategy, and HR competencies. I have edited books, written book chapters, and journal articles with international distribution. I'm currently on the editorial board of Human Resource Management Review Journal and elected representative at large in the Human Resources Division of the Academy of Management. Introduction to Management. The structure of this course. This course is divided into 6 lessons of 45 minutes, shown in 3 sessions of 15 minutes each. Each lesson is followed by a Q&A. By successfully completing this course, you will grasp the major concepts of management, leadership, and organization environment. In this course, you will learn about the foundations of management. The main purpose is to understand how to deal with workplace management. This course will cover management concepts at organization and managerial levels. Students who complete this course will learn about the following: management concepts, functions of management, organization. This is the knowledge at the end of Lesson 1, Session 1. So, introduction to the 4 functions of management. What is management? Different philosophers have given different definitions of management according to their fields of work. However, the end result of their work is the same, which lead to the betterment or attainment of goals. Definition of management. Management in business and human organization activity is simply the act of getting people together to accomplish desired goals. According to the management guru, Peter Drucker, organization is the coordination of the activities of an enterprise in accordance with certain policies and in achievement of clearly defined objectives. Fayol suggested 4 functions of management, which are planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. Let's just look at the brief definitions of each of these functions of management. Planning involves choosing appropriate organizational goals and courses of action to best achieve those goals. Organizing is establishing task and authority relationships that allow people to work together to achieve organization goals. Leading involves motivating, coordinating, and energizing individuals and groups to work together to achieve organization goals. And finally, controlling means establishing accurate measuring and monitoring systems to evaluate how well the organization has achieved these goals. So these are the four functions of management according to Fayol. Well, what is the common definition of management? Well, it turns out to be the planning, organizing, leading, and controlling of human, financial, and other resources to achieve organizational goals effectively and efficiently. Let's unpack each of these functions. So, planning, which is the first function, is that function of management that involves setting objectives and determining a course of action for achieving these objectives. Planning requires that managers be aware of environmental conditions facing the organization. It also requires that managers be good decision makers. Planning is a process consisting of several steps. It begins with environmental scanning, which simply means that planners must be aware of the critical contingencies facing their organization in terms of, for example, economic conditions, competitors, and their customers. Planners must then attempt to forecast future conditions. These forecasts form the basis for planning. One of the tools used in planning is the PESTEL, or what we call the analysis of the external environment, with PESTEL standing for some shortcuts of what we call change drivers. P is representing the political change drivers, which involves government policy, political stability, issues of corruption, foreign trade policy, tax policy, labor law, trade restrictions. Okay? The E stands for the economic change drivers. This involve economic growth, exchange rates, interest rates, inflation rates, the disposable income, unemployment rates. The S stands for the social change drivers, which have something to do with the population growth rate, age distribution, career attitudes, safety emphasis, health consciousness, lifestyle attitudes, and cultural barriers. The T, as you may guess, stand for the technological change drivers. So it's technology, incentives, level of innovation, automation, R&D activity, technological change, technological awareness. The E stand for the environmental change drivers that have to do with the weather, the climate, environmental policies, climate change, pressures from NGOs. And lastly, we have the L, which stand for the legal change drivers, such as discrimination laws, antitrust laws, employment laws, consumer protection laws, copyright and patent laws, healthy and safety laws. So these are the change drivers in the external environment which the organization does not have any control of. Planners must establish objectives, which are statements of what needs to be achieved and when. Planners must then identify alternative courses of action for achieving these objectives. After evaluating the various alternatives, planners must make decisions about the best courses of action for achieving these objectives. They must then formulate necessary steps and ensure effective implementation of plans. Finally, planners must constantly evaluate the success of their plans and take corrective action when necessary. There are many different types of plans and planning, such as strategic planning, tactical planning, and operational planning, which we will be discussing in greater depth in the succeeding sessions. The next function of management is organizing. It is the function that involves developing an organizational structure and allocating human resources to ensure the accomplishment of objectives. The structure of the organization is the framework within which effort is coordinated. The structure is usually represented by an organization chart, which provides a graphic representation of the chain of command within an organization. Decisions made about the structure of an organization are generally referred to as organizational design decisions. Organizing at the level of the organization involves deciding how best to departmentalize or cluster jobs into departments to effectively coordinate effort. There are many different ways to departmentalize, including organizing by function, product, geography, or customer. Many large organizations utilize multiple methods of departmentalization. Organizing at the level of job involves how best to design individual jobs to most effectively use human resources. The next function of management is leading. It involves influencing others toward the attainment of organizational objectives. Effective leading requires the manager to motivate subordinates, communicate effectively, and effectively use power. If managers are effective leaders, their subordinates will be enthusiastic about exerting effort toward the attainment of organizational objectives. To become effective at leading, managers must first understand their subordinates' personalities, values, attitudes, and emotions. Therefore, the behavioral sciences have made many contributions to the understanding of this function of management. Personality research and studies of job attitudes, for example, provide important information as to how managers can most effectively lead their subordinates. Controlling is the last function of management, according to Fayol. It involves ensuring that performance does not deviate from standards. It consists of three steps. The first is establishing performance standards. The second is comparing actual performance against standards. And the third is taking corrective action when necessary. And that's the purpose of controlling, to be able to correct something in order to achieve the goals. Performance standards are often stated in monetary terms, such as revenue, costs, or profits, but may also be stated in other terms, such as units produced, number of defective products, or levels of customer service. The managerial function of controlling should not be confused with control in the behavioral or manipulative sense. This function does not imply that managers should attempt to control or manipulate the personalities, values, attitudes, or emotions of their subordinates. Instead, this function of management concerns the management's role in taking necessary actions to ensure that the work-related activities of subordinates are consistent with and contributing toward the accomplishment of organizational and departmental objectives. We've been talking about the functions of management, but uh, what is the function of management in terms of organizations? So it's time for us to talk about what an organization is. So what is an organization? It is a deliberate arrangement of people to accomplish some specific purposes that individuals independently could not accomplish alone. And there are three common characteristics of organizations. As illustrated here, organizations have a distinct purpose or goal. They're composed of people, and they have a deliberate structure. Again, as you can see in the illustration here. Now we talk about scientific management. Scientific management is defined as the use of the scientific method to define the one best way for a job to be done, or in general, for organizational objectives to be achieved. In the following slides, I will briefly present a summary of theories of scientific management. Taylor has 4 principles of scientific management. Number 1 is to study each part of the task scientifically and develop a best method to perform it. The second is to carefully select the workers and train them to perform a task using the scientifically developed method. The third is to cooperate fully with workers to ensure they use the proper method. And finally, divide the work and responsibility so management is responsible for planning work methods using scientific principles, and workers are responsible for executing the work accordingly. So these are Taylor's 4 principles of scientific management. Weber, on the other hand, has his own scientific method of management, which he called the bureaucratic management. And the major characteristics of Weber's ideal bureaucracy include specialization of labor, formalization of rules and procedures, impersonality and application of rules and sanctions. That means it's a consistent application of rules and sanctions and not personalized to the individual workers. The fourth is the formalization of lines of authority into an hierarchical structure. There must be a structure of authority to which the workers should abide by and to which the different workers can refer to depending on their level in the organizational and hierarchical structure. Finally, there's the formalization of the career advancement process to be based on merit, which can help monitor the development of each worker and control the way he's performing in terms of the job that he's asked to do. And this is the end of Lesson 1, Session 1. Thanks for now.